Time for the International Press Review with Katerina VITTOZZI, who's joined us on set. You've been reading the international papers today, and a fascinating story that we're going to be talking about. An unprecedented investigation led by journalists around the world who teamed up and worked for over a year, secretly mining a trove of documents. I'm very excited by this. It's fascinating. And they've been working to uncover the workings of the world's tax havens.
Absolutely, and this is been featuring in a lot of papers, international papers on the International Herald Tribune, as we can see, just showing us the global implications and the huge scope of this investigation, as you say. It's an investigation which it's yet sort of uncertain what names are going to be revealed at the end of it. So far, they think they've got about 130,000 people who have either has links to offshore accounts or links to companies who operate in these tax havens, as you say. An estimated 24 trillion euros potentially involved. Le Monde, they carry a map in their newspaper today, along with the UK's Guardian. They were sort of one of the key papers sort of leading this investigation. Detailed 96 international tax havens. These are places where trillions of euros can rest in bank accounts with pretty much no questions asked with regards to tax. One of those we can see is the British Virgin Islands, and that's the focus of a piece in the Guardian newspaper, as I say today. The UK's Guardian are delighted to say that the author of that piece, David Leigh, joins us on the phone now. He's the investigations editor of the Guardian. David, thanks very much for joining us. Just like to start off by asking you, obviously as the investigations editor, you must have had a key role in synthesizing this vast amounts of information. First off, where did this information come from?
It all came from a hard drive containing more than 200 gigabytes of data from incorporation agencies in some of these offshore havens, particularly the BVI, the Cook Islands, Singapore, places like that. And so it was a huge trove of electronic data, rather like WikiLeaks a couple of years ago, only much, much bigger. And it then was, we've done nothing really for the last more than a year but try and understand and structure and sort out this data and mine the names out of it.
So just give us a sense of then, so you had this huge body of data. How did you go from, this hard drive, as you say? What routes then did you take to sort of spread it out and involve journalists from across the world?
Well, more than 80 journalists ended up across the entire planet, as you say, probing this material, and we built special software so that they could access documents from their own country and they could download them. And then, of course, journalists from their own countries understood who was prominent and who was significant, which names mattered in their own countries. So it was the most extraordinary cross-border collaboration that I've ever seen as a journalist, and I've been doing investigations for more than 30 years.
And David Leigh, I understand you're still mining the data?
This is a project that will carry on being directed by the ICIJ in Washington, which is a non-profit group of journalists, and they'll probably spend another year digging out more names.
How much of this is illegal? Because the Guardian itself has said some of it is, we don't know how much is illegal. Some of it may be just creative accounting, but not illegal.
Well, the problem is that it's not illegal for what a British politician here yesterday called a flood of dirty money to go into these havens. People call them tax havens. They're really secrecy havens, and especially the British one, the BVI. You've got to ask yourself, why do people want to hide their money in secrecy havens? And generally, the reasons are because they want to avoid tax, because they want to avoid their creditors or their ex-spouses, or because they stole the money in the first place. Those are the obvious reasons why people would want secrecy.
Now, David, the investigation so far has sort of thrown up a few key names, especially that of Jean-Jacque here in France. More revelations due to come in mid-April as this information is processed. What can we expect?
Well, we'll expect more names from all over the world. On the Augier question, one of the points of interest is who are the identities of his partners, his Chinese partners, who figure because they've got BVI companies linked to his company. You find that we've got thousands of names from China, from East Asia, places like that, people who I suspect many of whom are government officials who will get into a lot of trouble if their names come out.
All right, David Leigh, leading the investigations department of The Guardian. Thank you very much. Katerina, you've also been reading the South China Morning Post. What's their take on what's now being called offshore leaks?
Well, it's very interesting, just picking up sort of what David Leigh was saying there, the huge scope of this investigation, the idea that there's more names still to come. And according to the South China Morning Post, this is something which is being regarded with a lot of anticipation and nervousness on behalf of some key Hong Kong figures. They say that a lot of the money seems to have been linked so far to mainland Chinese, Hong Kong and Taiwan businesses. So a few nervous months ahead.
A fascinating story. Katerina VITTOZZI with the International Press Review. Thank you very much.
Thank you.